Some disappearances do not begin with a scream. They begin with a change in life. One quiet decision. A long drive in a packed vehicle. And a woman driving towards something only she understood. On March of 2000, a 23-year-old woman left North Carolina in a white Jeep Cherokee. She did not tell anyone exactly where she was going. She did not leave behind a clear plan. She just drove west, across beautiful country, towards Washington State, across mountains and nature, and the beautiful forests of the Pacific Northwest. This was Leah Roberts. And after that drive, she would never be seen again. Leah Roberts was from Durham, North Carolina. Leah was young and creative. She had experienced heavy personal loss and survived a life-changing car accident in the months before she disappeared. She had become drawn to travel, writing, and the idea of finding something beyond the life she had known. On March 9th, 2000, Leah left North Carolina and headed west. She was driving a white 1993 Jeep Cherokee. North Carolina license plate, JVP2881. Leah did not tell her family where she was going, and for several days, her trail moved west. One receipt found later showed that gasoline was purchased in Brooks, Oregon, sometime in the early morning hours of March 13th. That same day, another clue placed her farther north. A movie ticket showed that someone purchased a ticket for American Beauty at Bellis Fair Mall in Bellingham, Washington. The time on that ticket was 2:10 p.m. After that, the timeline becomes much harder to follow. Leah had crossed almost the entire country and had reached the edge of the Pacific Northwest. But then the road went quiet. 5 days later, on March 18th, her Jeep was found in Whatcom County, Washington. Not parked in a city or sitting outside a motel, and not abandoned in some shopping center. It was found on a logging road near the forests and mountains east of Bellingham. The vehicle had gone down an embankment, but Leah was not there. Inside and around the Jeep were pieces of her life. Her belongings, her guitar, her checkbook, cash, and cat food. Investigators believe she may have taken her small kitten with her from North Carolina. But neither Leah nor the kitten were found. That is where this case becomes so unsettling. Because normally, when a vehicle crashes, investigators expect to find something that explains what happened. A driver, an injury, a trail or a direction of travel. But in Leah's case, there was no clear answer. The Jeep and the belongings were there. But where was Leah? Searches were conducted in the area. The forests around the crash site were checked. The road was examined. People looked for signs that she may have walked away. But no confirmed trace of Leah was found. There are several possibilities. She may have been hurt and wandered away. She may have accepted a ride from someone passing through. She may have reached Bellingham and met someone before her Jeep ended up on that logging road. Or something totally different may have happened. But the truth is simple. No theory has solved the case. One possible sighting came after her Jeep was discovered. A man called authorities and said his wife believed she had seen Leah at a gas station in Everett, Washington. He said the woman appeared confused, but before investigators could get more information, the caller ended the conversation. That possible sighting has never answered the larger question. Where did Leah go? Why was her Jeep found in that place? And what happened after she reached Washington? The Pacific Northwest is a beautiful place, but it is also vast. Its forests can swallow sound, and its roads can narrow into nothing. And in places like Whatcom County, a person can be close to civilization and still feel completely alone. That is what makes Leah Roberts' disappearance so haunting. She was not lost in some nameless desert. She was not hundreds of years in the past. She was just a 23-year-old woman who drove into Washington and decades later has still not been found. There were receipts, there was a vehicle, there was a timeline, and there were things left behind. But there was no Leah. More than 2 decades later, Leah Roberts is still missing. Her case still remains unsolved. And somewhere between a gas receipt in Oregon, a movie ticket in Bellingham, and a Jeep found on a logging road somewhere in Washington, the trail disappears. Some cases do not end. They fade into the trees and wait for someone to remember